Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at something quite unusual. It looks like a guitar, but when you take a closer look, actually isn't. Or is it? Let's check it out. So what exactly is this Aeroband guitar and who is this for? That's what I'm going to answer in this video. Let's start with a quick unboxing and then I'll get into more details. Since the neck detaches from the body, the packaging is surprisingly compact for a guitar. It's minimalistic, clean and simple. Now, most guitars don't come with instruction manuals, but given how different this is, we have one here. Now, honestly, I didn't even need it. The operation is very intuitive. A few ports here and there, so you've got a headphone jack, a 3.5mm as well. And here you got a USB-C and a quarter jack as well if you wanted to plug the guitar straight into an audio interface or a guitar amp. Something I really like is how this guitar looks overall. Those RGB LED really are something different. And I think Aroband nailed that part pretty well. The overall look, the futuristic look. Okay, let's check how this thing actually works. At first glance, this looks like your standard electric guitar. You've got a body and neck, just like you'd expect. But here's where things get interesting. The neck has no actual strings. Instead, it's a touchpad with some silicone protrusion, I would call that mimic what frets and strings would feel like. So you can still feel the frets with your fingers. So when you press down, it sends a signal to activate the note. So you can play single notes. You can also play chords. So far, so good. On the other side, the body does have strings and they feel like real guitar strings. I believe they would be the same diameter, but they are obviously much smaller, so the strings only run from about here to the bridge. Another thing to note is that there is a sensor on the bridge, and that allows you to do some palm muting. The only thing is that it's either palm muted or not palm muted. There is no nuance of palm muting, which is again another issue. So I'll show you the difference. So with no palm muting and with, so it's really heavy on the palm muting, so it's which is, I guess, good for certain things, but you can't do build-ups, so it's a bit frustrating. But anyway, that's another thing. By the way, if you enjoy this type of content, consider subscribing to the channel. There are almost 10,000 of you now. We're really close to a huge milestone for me, so any subscribe will be appreciated. Before I share more of my thoughts with this instrument, I'm gonna try to demo it a bit more, try to play actual songs, but I actually have no idea how that's gonna sound. I've been really struggling with making it sound nice. Let's try this. Okay, so let's break down what works well and what doesn't work well for me. Let's start with some of the pros of this guitar, what I've liked. The first one is that they've thought about things like palm muting, so that is interesting. But as I was saying before, it's very limited. It's either on or off, so there is no nuance. And in music, nuance is everything. So I'll come back to that in a second. That will also be part of the cons. The second thing I like about this guitar is that it's very comfortable to play, so it's lightweight and ergonomic, so you're never gonna feel any pain in your fingers with something like this. You'll be able to do bar chords, if that's something you've always struggled with, very easily, no effort there. So yeah, that is something to consider. If you're starting out, it might be a good thing. Another thing is that there is an integrated capo, so if I press this button over there, so now I'm in normal tuning. So now there's a light that tells you you have a capo on fret 1. Now you can keep going. And you can basically keep playing open strings like you had a capo. Now the material quality, although it's plastic, feels nice. It's, I think, well finished overall. It's not like it's gonna fall apart or anything like that. It's, the connection, so the neck connects quite well to the body. Buttons feel pretty robust. You have metal straps, strap hooks as well. So I think it's a nice instrument, nice looking and nice finish overall. Okay, let's jump into the cons, and unfortunately they are a lot, but again, this is my opinion because I'm a guitar player, so people might approach this differently. The first cons is that it just does not play like a guitar at all. Technique like hammer-on, so first of all, you can't even hammer on from nothing, so you can't do tapping, does not exist on this. And even you can do hammer-on, so you can activate it in the app, but it will eventually stop. When you learn guitar, you learn all these little things that make you play your own style, and I feel like with this you cannot have a style, you cannot have differences. Another cons is there's no left hand muting. For me, it's a massive issue. Most of my play I mute with my left hand, so I just rest my fingers slightly to mute the strings. And even when I do chords, some of my fingers would mute some of the other strings so they don't ring. I wish there were different levels of pressing the silicone strings. So for example, if it's a light touch, you get kind of a muting, like when you mute on here. See, I feel like they could have probably done that. It's probably more expensive to have like pressure sensitive pads rather than just on and off. I'm not sure why this is not implemented. There's no bend obviously, so you can't bend, which is something that I really miss. It takes away a lot of expressiveness and a lot of the cool things, the cool solo. You won't be able to do this on this instrument. The chord transitions feel pretty natural as well. So overall, to summarize the cons, it's mostly about having no nuance or no dynamics, which is something that I think is the most important thing in playing guitar and other instruments as well. But yeah, it's just missing. So who would actually benefit from an instrument like this? I think this could be an interesting tool for music creators who work with MIDI. Something actually I did forget to mention that, but you can use that as a MIDI input for your software. And it might be, for a guitar player, it might be easier to do it on a guitar neck rather than a keyboard, but again, I'm not so sure. Even for me, I'm a guitar player, and when I do record MIDI samples, I usually use one of these small keyboard. I find it just pretty easy. but I haven't really spent the time to do it with this, so I can't say. But that's one of the use cases I see personally. Another group of users that might benefit from something like this is maybe people with struggle with finger pains. So if you have a lot of calluses and you just can't press enough, I've seen that sometimes. You can't press enough to get those bar chords or even any sort of notes. This will feel really, really easy. So that's a good point. And people with arthritis as well, so maybe older people, if you can't apply a lot of force with your fingers, same thing. You can really have your hand fairly relaxed on something like this, and that works really well. Another group of user, but here it's more of a maybe. I think it might be a good way to explore basic chords and melodies without the pressure of dealing with real guitar strings. So if you always wanted to try guitar but found the string tension difficult or uncomfortable, and that's like preventing you from doing anything with a guitar, maybe that's like a good entry point, so you can get a bit of fun, and then I would still recommend you switch to a real guitar. Even in a case like this, I would probably recommend you try a nylon string classic guitar, which might be a better choice. These nylon strings are pretty soft and easy to press, and you still get the essential mechanics of guitar if you play with nylon strings, not something you would have with this. Okay, my final thoughts on this is that I'm a bit confused about who this is really for. What's been interesting with this instrument is that it made me realize how complex a real guitar is and how much I would miss not having all these little intricate little things when you play guitar that you don't have on something digital. I love seeing innovation in a space that's been pretty stagnant for the last, 70 years. But at the same time, I don't think this is a product most people would enjoy playing for hours. For music producers, it could be a solid MIDI tool. For absolute beginners, it could be a stepping stone to guitar, but it would be like learning to drive in a simulator. At some point, you just have to get on the road. And for the price tag of $600, it's a very tough sell in my opinion. That said, music schools might find this interesting as a learning tool. So overall, it's cool and a fun idea, but I'm not sure it has long-term appeal, at least in its current state. But let me know in the comments what you think. Maybe I have missed any potential use cases, so I'm very interested to hear that. If you are after a guitar that actually feels like a guitar but still packs a lot of smart, innovative features like an integrated speaker, check out my review of the Enya guitar. I'll put that on the screen. If you enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, keep playing.